My boyfriend thinks I'm only after his money, so I'm walking away.
It's not about the money, or is it?
I'm 34 female, breaking up with my boyfriend, 34 male, because of a prenup. I've been with my boyfriend for about 2 years. Everything is going well, and we love each other. We've been discussing marriage, and he mentioned that he would not marry me without a prenup. By the way, this comes from Pumice Alice. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So we discussed this in detail, and I did not like what he proposed. His family owns a lot of property, land, and has lots of savings. After marriage, he wants me to move into one of the houses that his parents own. I told him that I am uncomfortable building a life and family in a house that I have no ownership in, and he didn't understand. I told him I would prefer to rent a place together, or we can live temporarily in one of his parents' houses and look at a property together, but he refused. He said he liked the houses his parents and he already owned. He said that he would not buy another property, and he said that he would not sell any of his property to buy one with me. He told me if I wanted to own property, I could save up money by living in one of these properties and invest in one myself. Problem is, he would be entitled to half if we divorced, since my purchase would happen after marriage. He told me that I could pay his parents' rent if I feel like I don't belong on the property. He told me that I could buy half of the house we live in from his parents. The problem is, I don't like the houses that he or his parents own. They also have a lot of stuff, and I feel like there's no space for me. I want to look at houses, I want to pick the place I live in, and I want to do it with my partner. I've made this clear to him over and over, but he won't budge. He earns more than me and has more assets than me for sure. He made it clear that he was afraid I was a gold digger, and he wanted to protect himself and his family's assets from me, which I can understand. This whole thing has made me feel very weird. This topic has come up before, and it has always made me feel very small. It makes me feel like all he cares about are his assets. It makes me feel like he wants me as long as I fit into the life that he already built and doesn't care to build one with me. It makes me feel like a gold digger. He has enough money to retire right now and live comfortably. I don't. He basically told me that whatever money he earns now, he can spend, so he won't be investing in too much anymore. He expects our earnings and our savings after marriage to be split, which I feel off about. I'm sure this is normal for some people. I'm sure other people would be happy to be with someone who was well off, but I'm not. I want someone beside me building a life with me, not someone who has built a life with his parents and wants me as long as I behave and fit into his life, which is how he's been making me feel. So I'm leaving him. I'm welcome to opinions on this, and there are some comments, but I want to hear your opinions on this, Keon.
When we divorce, was it when we divorce or if we divorce?
Probably if. Hopefully it was
It's
if.
like if we, yeah, but I was like,
Yeah.
why is that on your mindset? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's again smart to have in case, like in the prenup. I get that. Again, that makes sense.
Sure. I don't know, but I mean, I guess like when it comes down to it, she just doesn't like the house, and she's just like,
She
"Can we
doesn't
just
like the
find a new
house?
one? I don't want to live there." And he's like, "Well, I do." So
Yeah, I guess he's comfortable with what he's got. Makes sense, and she's
Yeah.
not comfortable with what he's got. So they want. I can see again both sides. So let's see what the comments say. I want to see what this. I want to hear what the comments say.
Me too. So comments. Comment number 1 says, "This is a great move. You're doing the right thing. I'm usually team prenup, but you'd be getting screwed here, especially if you kept building wealth and your assets post-marriage, and he just kicks back on what he already has. If you did split, he'd make out better than you, despite already starting with one leg up. On top of that, he's not listening to what you want, your own place and space and a life you build together. He just wants you to follow his plan. Yucky." OP responds, "That's what I was trying to get him to see too. But he takes it as, oh, so you're coming after the wealth and my parents worked so hard to build?" And I'm left speechless. But that's not what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's just like, hey, I just don't want to be like out of house and home if we divorce.
Yeah.
I
This
don't-
is very like
That's crazy.
I'm trying to understand both sides here because both sides make sense, but the way this is going up, I don't know.
Yeah. If you think that's something I would do, then why would you want to marry me? And OP responds to that, I've asked him that, and he says that he doesn't think I'll do it, but just in case. Comment number 2 says, I'm not sure such a one-sided prenup would even be enforceable. But since by the time a divorce happened, OP would be so disheartened and beaten down by being a powerless accessory to her husband and his family, that might not matter or help. This sounds like an invitation to a lifetime of financial abuse, devaluation, and control for OP. Fiance cares nothing about OP's goals, values, needs, and vulnerabilities in life's major areas. He's got his locked in so tight that he never has to consider, much less compromise, to support OP's unique humanity, point of view, and need for autonomy. OP responds, yes, I do feel like he wouldn't support me, which is what I want. His family is actually really sweet. I have a feeling his parents don't know about the situation, but I will talk to everyone when I leave, so I'll keep y'all updated. And we do have an update. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess like just trying to cover your own back and like in case if something does happen, you don't want to be screwed over.
Right.
I get that. And that's what prenups are for. That makes sense. I feel like if it's a more fair prenup and all that jazz, this is one of those things where I'm like, I keep saying it, I'm trying to see on both sides.
Yeah.
I see that OP is just trying to, at least try and hear me out, like, to her partner. And it's just like, no, none of that. Like, maybe meet in the middle, but he's not budging, and I guess that's not fair.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't fair. But it's just an interesting thing as well because neither of us are married and we've never been through this.
Right.
I mean, I've been through a divorce with my family, and that was just a yucky situation. So I get it.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
Intriguing. I don't know, but yeah, maybe it just comes down to how they're communicating about it, and maybe like that's really the issue
and how it comes across. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we do have an update. So before I start, here's some important context. I have a stable and rewarding career. And though I don't earn as much as him, I am very happy with what I can afford. My parents have always taught me that women should be independent, and I have taken that to heart. I live below my means, which has allowed me to put aside money for savings and investments. A lot of comments have mentioned that I should take the free rent and that it would somehow set me forward in life, but for me, giving up my sense of autonomy and control over my home, my save space, is not worth the potential savings. I lived with my parents and saved aggressively until I was 30, so I am lucky enough to be in a position where I can comfortably afford rent or a mortgage by myself. Plus, he expected the living situation to be permanent. I would not move into a house owned by someone else just to save rent. Would it be nice to save $2,000 a month? Sure, but most people pay rent, and I am not an exception. If I really wanted that, I could move back in with my parents, but again, autonomy is very important to me. Also, if he's this stubborn now, I don't see how the situation could be improved later after I already moved in. I could also counter the prenup and make it so all my accumulated assets stay mine, or put in a clause that I'll be compensated for any children we have, or put that I'd get alimony or at least have a roof over my head in case we divorce. But for me, that feels overly transactional. It also gives me the vibes that I'm going to be living with a roommate who I sleep with and might have babies with, not a partner. I prefer to feel like we're in it together. He can keep what was his, but I want to build up what is ours. Also, if everything is completely split, it'll open up a new can of worms. How will our expenses be split if I'm working and he's just chilling? What happens when we have children? He has money saved for them, but will I get a say in how we can spend that money? I know these can be worked out, but this is not the type of marriage I want. I can't predict everything that will happen, and I don't think I can capture it in a contract. And it's already been so heartbreaking for me, I don't want to go through anymore. Anyways, yada, yada, yada. I'll just say that it felt like I was being stripped of my autonomy, stonewalled, and treated like a hostile. Okay, on to the updates. Okay, do you have any thoughts about that before we move on? That was interesting.
Yeah, I feel like you guys have two different thought processes, maybe, like with your finances, and I get it. OP, you have your way of doing things.
Yeah.
If he doesn't come around to that, because he grew up differently as well,
right?
It's already clashing.
We've heard so many stories where it's just like all of a sudden the parents are just like, nope, everything that I promised you, gone.
Exactly.
Some sort of fight will happen. Maybe if there's a divorce, probably a fight happened, and then the parents will obviously choose sides. And then, yeah, it's very possible that they'll just use that power. So it's, if she wants half of like the house and the asset, it's not because she wants the parents' money. It's just because she doesn't want to get screwed over.
Exactly.
And
that,
that.
Again, like I said, I see both sides, but again, just the way they think, or I guess I can see their mindsets.
Yeah.
And she said, it's like, we're already clashing and it's not working.
Yeah.
Unless if somebody budges, I don't think it's going to work out.
I agree. But on to the updates. So I told him I needed to end this relationship. Boom. I appreciated and truly enjoyed my time with him, but our financial values and the preferred married lifestyle just don't match. Exactly what you said. It was a quick and easy conversation, to be honest. I expected the breakup to be a bit of a process, not a one and done thing, since our lives overlap a lot. I'm also in contact with a lot of his family, so of course, during this whole time, a lot of them got involved, but blah, blah. Not super relevant to the updates. So, the talk with his parents. Okay. I love his parents. I had a great relationship with them. I would go over to their house. We would have food, chat, watch TV. Sometimes I would go to the parties they host without my ex if he was busy. A few days after my talk with my ex, I went over to say goodbye. I didn't know if the prenup was family enforced or not, so I kept it very general and mainly focused on how the situation made me feel and what I was looking for in a relationship. His parents were shocked Pikachu face when I told them why I was leaving. I'm going to bullet point the rest. His parents really want grandbabies. However, ex's younger brother and sister-in-law do not want kids. So they were so happy when I came into their lives and she found out that I wanted kids. His parents had created their wealth together, with his dad being the major breadwinner for most of the relationship. His mom was shocked at what he was offering me, saying these aren't the values he was raised with. Oh, interesting. Whoa. So the mom might be against the boyfriend.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Whoa.
This is a development.
That's kind of nice to hear. It's a relief. She had been effectively retired since almost 15 years ago, and she said that ex's dad never made her feel uncomfortable because of the difference in earning potential. They told me that they built their assets for themselves and their children. They said that includes whoever their children decided to share their lives with. They have many properties. However, they also have enough investments that they can live off of those. They also told me that their plan was to sign over a house of our choosing as a wedding gift or sell a house and give us cash so we could buy a house we both wanted.
Wow.
That's insanely nice.
That sounds
generous.
Wow.
I want that.
Thank you.
They have multiple properties. Ugh.
I'll marry your son.
Yeah,
And
there
I'll
you
take
go.
him half.
Exactly. As they got older, they planned to evenly divide their properties between my ex and his brother since they wouldn't want to manage the properties anymore and live off investments. Ex's mom said that she would have made sure that my name was on my ex's portion, especially since we were wanting kids. They mentioned investments will go directly into funds for grandkids after their passing. Maybe this is what my ex was referring to when he said his children would be set. A bit morbid, though. Ex's mom told me that the mother of her grandbabies would be taken care of, and she wanted us to be on equal footing while raising a family. To be honest, this conversation was kind of like a weight off my chest. I always loved his family and never felt excluded, but the prenup talks left me confused and hurt. What they said fit with what I knew from my ex and them before. I'd be lying if I said I didn't start imagining this life. So I talked to my ex again. I'll bullet point this too. Basically, he told me his dad had joked before about how he hoped him and his brother would not find gold diggers, and that's where that comment came from. He felt responsibility to protect his parents' assets since he didn't feel entitled to them, so by extension, I wasn't entitled either. In his culture, sons carry on the family line, so he felt that he had to keep his assets in the family line, which I'm not a part of, but any sons we had would be. Whoa. And if you have daughters, they won't either? Dang.
Interesting.
I don't like that. Most of the assets he's worried about are under his parents' name, and he had never asked for their opinion on what to do. He just did what he thought he should be. He also said that he isn't that well off, and that his assets shouldn't come between us. You're not that well off with all your multiple properties?
You're getting a house or a certain amount of money for a house.
My goodness.
For a wedding gift.
Oh my goodness.
But you're not that well off.
Not that well off.
He's being humble.
All these small assets to come between us. This is still confusing to me. Isn't this whole thing because he was well off and wanted to hold on to what he had and not create a shared lifestyle? I think maybe he meant that he didn't own much and most things actually were under his parents' name. He felt like he was punching above his weight with me and was scared that I would leave him. Aw, little insecure boy. He was afraid that I was with him because of his finances, since that was the only thing that he had more of, whereas he said that I am intelligent, hardworking, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Do we think he's being genuine with those compliments?
I think he's an idiot.
Yeah.
That's one, because he's very insecure and just he's like, I'm just scared. I'm just scared, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man. I mean, he might be right about that. and that could be like brought up in a nice way, but it also could be brought up in a like, okay, just trying to get her to stay kind of way.
I don't know. That's any relationship. Even if, you were poor, that's any relationship. You're taking a dive and a chance on somebody that, you want to open your life with and trust and continue that path.
Exactly. He was scared about moving forward with the relationship, but instead of communicating, he became defensive. To me, it seems like he said and did things because he was feeling deeply insecure. He had made a couple of passing comments before about me being more beautiful than him or how I'm more hardworking, etc., etc., but I had always taken them as compliments, not self-deprecating comments towards himself. He also apologized over and over about how he didn't mean to make me feel like an outsider to him and his parents, and insisted that he wanted to share a life with me. He said that his insecurities and fear got the best of him and he didn't handle it well. He had taken advantage of my patience and lashed out because he felt inadequate and scared. It broke my heart because I think all of this could have been avoided. We've been through this song and dance before many times where he would feel some sort of way, then act out as he's processing it. I don't like that much. Until now, I always stay through it and we move on, but it's never gone on for so long. I've pushed him to seek individual counseling and we've attended couples counseling together, but I can't force him to sit and identify his emotions or employ the tools we were taught. The prenup conversation happened over a long period of time. He had so many chances to pump the brakes and reflect on what he was saying and simply just listen to me, but he didn't. He then sat in front of me saying that everything he said before was not what he meant. He said he would be happy to take care of me and our future kids. We could buy a house together or rent if I wanted to, because now he wasn't scared about creating a life together. Completely opposite to everything he had been saying.
I don't know. Do you think he's being genuine with everything?
Trust
because
that.
Especially since OP talked to his parents.
Oh, maybe. Does he know that he talked? I think he knows.
He probably does.
Probably
that would make
does.
sense.
Dang, yeah, because I mean, at this point, I think she like technically already broke up with him, and then, and unless this is like before she called it quits.
I think so. I don't think they've broken up just
this
yet.
is like the process. Okay,
Yeah.
Definitely don't get married and have kids right away. Definitely wait for that, because if he has like if he has the tendency to like lash out when he's getting upset and then won't say anything until you complain about it
and project his insecurities and not actually come to you and talk to them about it, but like just like that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's not someone you want to like have kids with when he's hasn't like worked on this yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but how unsettling is it that he seemed so completely comfortable and confident in the hurtful words he previously said and was okay with placing me in a very unequal position in the relationship. Despite me continuously trying to articulate what I wanted and how he was making me feel, he didn't even consider my side over months. I know I have a good deal with what his parents are offering, and I know him and I get along super well, but I'm not marrying his parents. I can't have his mom with us during every argument or life decision we take. Thinking back, I can count on one hand where we've run into issues, and he was able to address it without acting up. He's such a nice guy, but I can't be his garbage bin every time he needs to sort out his feelings. It's already worn me down. He's a grown man, he's intelligent and intuitive. He's had 2 years to learn how to communicate with me, and he's not. I honestly can't tell if what he said to me is genuine or coming from his parents or coming from a fear of losing me. I could give him the benefit of the doubt again, but and move forward with the relationship as I've done in the past, but I'm tired. I think this is a fixable problem, but I also have not seen any improvement since we started dating. If anything, this prolonged experience has made me feel it's gotten worse. I will not make the mistake of investing in a man because of what he could be instead of who he is. By the way, you can always invest in what we are, which is OK Storytime. Just go search that on your favorite podcast app, whether it's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever you choose, because we've got full episodes with more stories just like this one. Get on over there.
After this,
there is a little bit more into the story, but do you have any final thoughts before we move on?
I feel like everything I've said, OP's like says right after, which is very funny.
Yeah, literally.
Where was this, when every time I asked you about this, I had to go to your mom and hear the truth, and then that's what made you actually tell the truth.
Yeah.
That should have never happened in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
2 years of doing this, I don't know.
Exactly. Because this isn't their first conversation about it. So it's not like she brings this problem up at first and immediately he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry." She's brought this up multiple times.
Yeah.
And
he's just like, no,
yeah.
this is what it's gonna be like.
Exactly.
And like again, like at the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm trying to get a feel for everything, and now the full story has come. It just makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
You can't change this guy, or
Yeah.
if you do, it's just like you're kind of doing like the watching over your shoulder kind of thing the entire time,
You don't want
because
that.
you don't know if it's genuine or not. It should have been genuine from the very get go, but it wasn't.
But there is a little bit more to this story. If the last few months are a testament to how he handles stressful situations, I can only take things as they are and assume they won't change. This whole thing has left me sour. I can't just unhear and unknow that he's afraid I'm a gold digger. That was just one of many comments that really hurt me. For these reasons, I am still choosing to walk away. Very different from leaving because of a prenup, but it is leaving nonetheless. And to be honest, this hurts more. I know it will hurt for a while, but I pray that I'll be avoiding a heartache and complications in the future. Who knows? If it was meant to be, maybe we'll find our way back. For now, I've told him and his family that I need space and time. I know that it seems like I'm giving up a lot, but of course, there are things that I can't put in a post. I actually wrote the above quite early, but I didn't post because it didn't feel like it was over. But now, after this time, I know it is. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Dang. Wow.
Good on you, OP. You know your value, you know your virtues, and you know what the life that you want to live.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to wait on someone, and you don't want to force someone. If they do it genuinely, and they do it naturally.
Right.
So it's going to suck for a little bit, but at least you know what you want, and you know what you want to live with.
Right.
And who to live with, and what you want in a partner.
Right.
So
That's
the best thing.
Yeah, you're going about this in a really, really mature way and really healthy way. So great job on you. Yeah, this is, if he's only 2 years in and you've had these problems and he's dealt with it in a not healthy way, not very mature way, this is definitely not going to change. So
yeah, just like, hey, and I guarantee you did in the breakup, you're like, this is not going to work out. You don't see what I want. And if that's how you see me, or if you're insecure about someone, going after your money, you got some real trust issues.
Exactly.
I mean, it's sure, but it shouldn't, that shouldn't be like your number one shield. And you know what? Bye. Wish you the best. You maybe go get a therapist to talk about that and reevaluate. I think my partner is going to propose. Is today the day?
Ooh, he's gonna put a ring on it.
A little long backstory. My partner Dean and I have been together for just over 3 years, but have known each other for 9. When we first met at work, I was trapped in an awful relationship and also pregnant. So obviously nothing happened physically, and he would never have tried to change that, as no one knew how bad my ex-husband was. So as far as he was concerned, I was happily starting my own family. But we instantly clicked as friends, and honestly, I think it only took me about a week to realize I was falling for him in a non-platonic way.
Uh-oh.
By the way, this comes from user Down the Rabbit Hutch. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, little did I know that Dean felt the same way. Woo! But he's the most oblivious person when it comes to knowing that someone likes him in that way. He later told me that had he had known everything, he'd have me out of that situation I was in and moved in with him in a heartbeat, and ready to raise my now 8-year-old daughter as his own. Wow, Dean's a keeper.
He's making moves, man.
Yeah. I had a complicated pregnancy towards the end, so I wasn't at work for the last few months of it, and my ex made me quit my job when I should have returned after maternity leave. Dean and I tried to stay in contact, but I was aware that I had inappropriate feelings for him, and I was terrified that my ex would somehow find this out and fly off the handle and hurt me. So I purposely let our communication dwindle to nothing after I knew I wouldn't be returning to work, even though it hurt. I think I gaslit myself into thinking that now that we had a baby, my ex would magically be better and we'd be one happy family. I put the whole thing with Dean down to him just being the one that got away, and I thought about him very often. Dean and I spoke a couple of times over the next 5 or so years, and once I learned that he was in a relationship and seemed happy, any hope I had that I could escape my ex and catch Dean was out the window. It felt pointless to break up the family I had for nothing. Again, I gaslit myself into it wasn't as bad as it was and put myself into the staying together for the kids no matter what mindset, which is not a good mindset. If you're doing that mindset out there, people, I get
Yeah.
it, but it's not. Do what's best for you too.
Yeah. And then that will be best for the kids because then they'll see you being healthy.
Yeah. You don't want to, yeah, because if you're in a toxic environment, you're raising a kid in a toxic environment.
Exactly.
I've now shaken that off completely and in no way condone staying in an awful relationship, regardless of whether or not there are kids involved. So I continued on, was coerced into a marriage I knew I didn't want, and then into having another baby, which my ex, of course, used to control me even more. So, scummy.
Great.
Great. Dean's relationship lasted as well, and he and his now ex had 2 children and bought a house together. Happiness for myself seemed like a pipe dream by this point, and all I could do was pour all my love into my children and walk as carefully as possible around the sea of eggshells that constantly surrounded my ex. In 2022, everything changed. Out of nowhere, my ex left on a random Tuesday morning, of course blaming me and saying that marriage and children were too restrictive for him.
Classic.
This was, of course, a lie. It turns out he was cheating.
Classic.
But he tried to secretly move in with her because he didn't want any consequences for his actions.
Classic.
Oh, man, this guy's just a grade A classic.
He's just checking all the boxes for textbook harmful ex-husband.
He left me in a mountain of debt. That he'd built up in my name without my knowledge. I had no way to provide solely for myself and my children, and he deliberately quit his job so he didn't have to pay any child support.
Ooh.
Oh, man. He also didn't care about seeing our children, but to be honest, I was glad about that as he barely knew how to change a nappy, and I didn't want his constant anger taken out on our children with no one there to protect them. Oh my gosh. The initial shock and upset about the sudden change honestly only took about 5 hours to get over. And after that, I was actually just grateful that he wasn't there anymore. I figured out how to be self-sufficient and actually started to be proud of myself for how I parented as a newly single mother and dealt with the whole situation. Good on you, OP. I'm not going to lie, Dean started playing on my mind almost immediately after my ex left. We hadn't caught up in a while, and he's barely active on social media, so I had no idea what his situation was. 2 months after my ex left, Dean messaged me out of the blue.
What? Oh my gosh.
He'd seen that my relationship status on Facebook had changed, and he was checking if I was okay. I was honest with him then about how bad the relationship had been, and he was pretty horrified. He also shared that he and his ex had a split up a few months after their second child was born, because she had been financially and emotionally manipulative since their first child arrived, and after their second was born, she was on the verge of psychotic. So he made sure that she was getting the care she needed for the sake of his children, but knew he couldn't stay with her. His ex and your ex, that's crazy. That's crazy timing too, yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out they'd split only a few days before my ex and I did. Wow.
Wow. That's crazy.
Dean and I agreed to meet up, and the instant connection practically slapped me in the face the minute I saw him. 5 years without seeing each other, with all those pent-up feelings, all bubbled to the surface at once in that moment. And to my shock, he seemed to be flirting with me. Things escalated from there, especially when we both admitted that we had big feelings for each other, and the attraction was almost palpable. But we did agree that our friendship was the most important thing, that we didn't want to lose again. And especially with us both having only come out of long-term relationships where children were involved, we'd keep the physical aspect of things casual for a time and see how it went. Certainly no introducing each other to our respective children as being together or anything like that. But we both fell hard and fast for each other, and we knew that. So after a few months, we made things official. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
It all felt like a dream come true.
Aw.
It actually took me some time to adjust to how he treated me. Oh, oh man, he's making you a queen right now.
Wow.
He is, of course, an amazing partner, but I was so used to being treated like crap that this caught me off guard. We talked about how we wanted our future to look, and we knew that we wanted to get married. We also knew that we'd like to have our child of our own, but this was highly unlikely due to some of my own fertility problems. So this was more of a wish than a plan. Then, just before Christmas last year, we found out that we're having a baby due this August.
Oh my gosh. This is so wonderful.
She's the biggest miracle, and the whole family is ecstatic and can't wait to meet our baby girl. Things are so good. It feels surreal at this point. And yes, of course, like every normal couple, we have disagreements, but they never escalate to arguments. I've never heard him shout or be truly angry. We just communicate before everything reaches a breaking point and solve things together. Yay! This is so...
Oh my gosh.
So, that brings us to today. About a year ago, Dean bought me a promise ring and had my engagement ring finger measured, just in case. At the same time, he's mysteriously gone to my mother-in-law's house today to pick some stuff up and asked me if I'd like to go for a walk later, which is odd because we never really plan walks. We just go. He said he wants to walk around a local nature reserve, which, coincidentally, is where we had our first meetup 3 years ago, and also our first kiss. Well, at least he's a romantic, you know?
Oh.
But
being
he's
very
also obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he's like oblivious to...
Yeah.
So he's probably like, this is like the perfect plan. Like, she'll never
Right.
know.
Which is sweet in its own way.
It's very. He also paid for me to have my nails done a few days ago, just because. Unusual, as normally I'll have my nails done a couple times of the year for my birthday and Christmas, and I'll just take myself as a gift / self-care. I really hope I'm not building myself up for nothing.
Don't worry, girl. You're fine.
I can't see any part of the rest of my life without this wonderful man in it. Thank you if you've read this far, and sorry for the long post. I'm not really expecting anyone to read this, or care, lol. Oh, well, OP, we care.
Yeah.
I just needed to blurt it out somewhere.
Aw.
By the way, I'm going to blurt out that I love you all.
Woo!
But I would love you even more if you joined in to full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, or again, your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime.
Do it, please.
We have 65 days of content for you guys.
So much. You'll never be bored again in your whole life.
This is like one of the sweetest stories.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like,
He's cheesing.
I'm cheesing over here, and that's kind of gross.
This is so sweet.
You're grossing me out. I'm cheesing. But this is so sweet.
This is so sweet, and this is so what she deserves. She got...
You both deserve this.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ah.
Because I'm sure this was, like she said, it was an adjustment. I'm sure it's an adjustment for him, too.
100%.
And he's, like, trying... He's finally able to give all of his love to someone that deserves it and who reciprocates it. And she is finally able to be treated right.
Yeah.
And it's so wonderful.
Again, and if you're someone listening to this and you're in one of those relationships where, again, you're doing it for the kids or it's very toxic, just know there's someone out there and you can get out of it. You can get out of it. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to find someone who treats you the way you deserve to be treated.
Yeah.
He took me down the same route that we walked down 3 years ago, and we were walking for a while. So I was beginning to wonder if I was wrong. But then he started to get all nervous, and I realized we were coming up to the bridge, which looks over the water, where we stopped and had our first kiss.
Aww.
Ugh.
I have butterflies. I'm not even in this relationship.
This is so cheesy. I'm lactose intolerant. This is gross.
I love it.
I'm going to get gassy. It just felt like a much longer walk because I'm heavily pregnant now.
Oh.
Again, because of the daughter. But we
that.
got there eventually, and he gave me a very nervous kiss and then got down on one knee, said some truly lovely things, and showed me the absolutely gorgeous ring that he'd picked out. I struggled to say yes.
Well, you keep reading.
Oh, okay. I struggled to say yes just because I was hormonally sobbing by this point. Oh, you're just like... Keep getting it word out, can barely breathe.
Yeah.
But we already knew what my answer would be. I feel like the luckiest woman on the planet.
Oh. My goodness.
Congrats. Congrats to you and Dean. You guys have a big, happy family. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. See? It's proof, guys. There's better people out there. There's someone out there for everyone who will treat you right.
Oh,
my goodness. How
gross.
Wonderful.
through all the muck and the vile. You congrats. That's all I can
Congrats.
say. Yes.
Yeah.